Well, spring is finally here, and with winter closing out and no more threat of snow, we can finally get to some overdue maintenance on our 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Here we've got a number of things we're going to be working on. Basically, we're going to be doing a lot of suspension maintenance, taking care of bushings on the front and rear end, doing new hub and wheel bearing assemblies. We're also going to be taking care of upper and lower ball joints on the front end, and a few other things that we'll go over as we get started. As many know on these vehicles, this bushing here, the round one, is a very easy to purchase, easily stocked bushing. I got the moves over there. But this oval bushing, I've been unable to find a part number for or any aftermarket source for it. So the only way to get this bushing is to actually purchase the entire control arm. We did go with these for the fronts. Now for the rear lower control arm, they have a similar configuration, but what I'm hoping is, since I don't have any noises or any weird behavior in the rear, I'm hoping that that oval bushing is in good shape. I've gone ahead and purchased the correct circular bushings. We'll go ahead and take the control arm off. We'll press the new bushings in, but we will have the original oval bushing in there. So we'll take a look at it, we'll inspect it. Fingers crossed that it's in good shape, we can continue to use it. Otherwise, we'll be having to order a full set of control arms for the lowers. We've also got some fluids that we're going to do service on. We've got the transmission fluid service we're going to go ahead and do, just a pan drop and filter change. We've also got the front and rear differential fluid. We also have fluid that has the correct and certified limited slip additive for the rear. And of course we have the transfer case fluid from Mopar that we're going to do for our NV247. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so we've got our Jeep properly supported. Got an extra jack stand just in case. We have both sides on jack stands. We've got a jack under the rear end. We're going to start with this lower control arm. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get the nuts loose. We've already sprayed them a little bit with PB Blaster to help out. And we're just going to use a 21 millimeter on the nut side. And then I'm just going to use a hammer to go ahead and get it started. And then once we break it loose, alright, so now that we've broken it loose, on that side, we're going to go ahead and use a big ratchet with a 21 and our wrench. Alright, we're going to start with the top. We're not going to take them completely off, we're just going to get them loose. So I've got my wrench in the back. And I've got my big ratchet right here. And we're gonna go ahead and pull these off. And the bigger ratchet you can use, the better. You're gonna get more leverage out of it. Breaker bar would work just fine for this. But if you just have a straight up breaker, you're not gonna have the ratchet motion. It's a little hard to keep the wrench on in the back because there's a lip. You gotta get it on just right, but here we go. Yeah, we're getting that one just fine. All right, that's pretty much hand tight now. So we'll go ahead and move on to our lower one. Put our wrench on down here. Again, getting it over the lip. And you can actually use the wrench to pull back on the ratchet in the back. We'll go ahead and do its job as long as the bolt's moving. And one important thing we got to remember when we put these back on, you're not going to be tightening them all the way. You actually torque these with the suspension fully compressed at ride height. So all four wheels on the ground, and then we'll go ahead and take care of that. Okay. Here's our one nut off. Go ahead and pull your bolt out. Go ahead and lower the control arm. Now again, we've got our rear end supported by the jack, so we're not going to have any problems with the rear end moving on us. Okay, let's move on to our top that we left again tight. And take the nut off the back. I think this one has a locking tab on it. Okay, go ahead and pull the bolt out. Slide this back in for reference. All right, here's our control arm. We're going to pull this out. This is how it actually went on the vehicle. And we're going to take note of a couple things. Number one, our oval bushing is on the axle side. Round bushing is on the frame side. If we flip it over, this is a single box piece. So what we can see here though, the bushing has a lip on this side and just pushes through on this side. So the lip side faces out. Same goes for the oval bushing here. That way we know we're going to put it on just fine. Now another thing, there's actually a couple of holes on this side. These holes will face in. So with this, we know we're going to be able to put this on just the way it came on. All right, so we have our control arm up on the bench, and the first thing we wanted to do, we mentioned we were going to take a look at these oval bushings that we couldn't buy a replacement for and inspect them. And they're not in the perfect shape. They've got a little bit of, looks like dry rotting going on, but they're together, they're not broken apart. I think we're going to keep them. We're going to run them as is. We are going to take care of this bushing though. Again, this one's not as bad as I expected it to look with this many miles, so that's good news. But we're going to take these tabs right here, we're going to take a punch and push those back in, and we're going to grease it up with some PB Blaster, and that'll help us press it out. And there's those tabs we wish to go ahead and take care of. And I'm just going to use a standard punch for right now. Okay, and that's going to go ahead and push that tab out. Just go ahead and swap to the other side. Okay, we're just going to come in on the side here. Make pretty quick work of these. All right, perfect. All right, now we're going to go ahead, before we hammer them anymore, we're going to go ahead and just spray them down a bit with some PB Blaster, see if we can get that to go in at all, especially as we're working through it. Spray up over the lip a bit. That'll do. All right. Now there's two ways we can go about doing this. I'm going to try first using the shop press, see if we can press these out this way. If not, if the shop press doesn't work, if we don't have the right fitting, these are pretty big. I don't know if I have the right fitting or socket that could go over there to press it out. So if we don't have that, then we'll go ahead and move on to just basically cutting out the rubber. We'll drill out the rubber, cut it out, we'll punch out the centerpiece, and then we'll just maybe cut a little bit of the metal or use a punch or a cold chisel to cave it in, and then it'll pop right out. So there's that as kind of the brute force method, but we're actually going to first try to actually use the shop press and press these out, assuming we have the right equipment in here to do it. And there we go. And we got that taken care of. With the press, we're going to go ahead and just hammer it out the rest of the way. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, we have our old bushing out. We've got our new one right here, and we're going to go ahead and prep that to be pressed in using our shop press. Now, a tip, I actually just took this out of the freezer, and it's going to help it drop in. This one will drop pretty much almost all the way in, and then it's just press fit where this lip is right here the rest of the way. But keep it in the freezer. If you don't mind, put it in your stuff in the freezer. It's not a bad thing to do. It'll actually help this shrink just a little bit, and that way it'll actually be a little easier to press in, and then once it warms up, you'll have a really good, nice, tight fit. So what I am going to do is go ahead and put some grease around this lip. Just some standard axle grease. I'm going to go ahead and just put that right up here. So that way we've got some good lubrication when we go ahead and do the press fit. And that's going to help everything slide together. Okay, we can go ahead and just drop this in for now. And it's pretty much now ready. You can use this adapter here, which sits pretty snugly on there. we're going to go over to our press and go ahead and press this in. This will press in nice and easy. There we go. That's it. And there we have it. Our new bushing is pressed in. And we're all set and ready to go. Okay, so we're all set to reinstall our control arm. Now if you remember, when we took it out, we made notice that the holes on the control arm go on the inside. The lip on the bushings is on the outside, and the round bushing is on the body mount, or the frame mount, and the oval is on the axle side. So remember that and make sure we reinstall it that way. So we'll do the top first, slide our bolt through, go ahead and get our nut started. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and take our bottom one, slide it in the bracket. Remember the orientation that the bolts came out. Okay, get that lined up. Bolt through. And good to go. Okay, once we get everything on just finger tight, we'll go ahead and switch back to our ratchet. And again, we're not going to tighten these all the way. We're only going to tighten them just about a little bit past hand tight. And just tight up with the ratchet, but not tight. We're not torquing them down. We'll actually do all the final torquing when this is all back on the ground. Okay, just about there. Okay, that's tight enough for now. Let's do the same over here. By the way, I don't know if you can see, it looks like the heat shield over the muffler is falling down in the back, so it's kind of good for doing this and catching that. Alright, that's good enough for now. So our control arm is reinstalled with our new bushing, and then we're just going to go ahead and make sure these are, like I said, just a tiny bit tight, but still just a tad bit of play because we want them to move when we drop it. Make sure we do the final torque when it's on the ground. And there we have it. That's our lower control arms on the bottom replaced. We've already done the other side, so we're good to go to move on. Alright, so we're now working on our upper rear control arm. And to get that, this is where the ball joint is we were talking about earlier when we went over our parts. This ball joint attaches the rear upper control arm to the differential, and then of course we've got two mounts up at the body. So the way we're going to do this today, since we're taking the whole arm off, I've gone ahead and loosened all of the brake hose brackets, and I've loosened the three 21mm bolts, and I'm just coming in with the box end wrench and slowly but surely taking them off. And I do know the bolts on this are actually longer, so they won't come out, so we're going to have to drop the axle slightly as we loosen these. We'll try to show that as we get through it. But this is kind of a long, tedious process if you don't have a box end ratcheting 21-inch wrench. I've just got a standard one, so I'm going to sit here and go ahead and wrench them out. Just take my time and get it done. And you can already see the plate lifting a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and jack it up a little more. Alright, so there's those bolts again. We've got them loose pretty good. I'm still working on the other side. So I'm going to drop the axle a bit and see if those true up. We're going to go ahead and drop the axle now and see if we get a little more clearance on those bolts. Just going to try to go slow. There we go. I didn't go super slow, but slow enough. You see that push the plate up there. So now we've got a little more clearance to keep going with our bolt removal. Alright, so here we are on those rear bolts, and we got our front one out. Alright, I know this is a bit hard to see, but we're on our last one, and we're pretty close to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the rest of the turns on it. There we go. And this is our upper control arm here, and it is now loose. All of our bolts are now out. And let's see here. That ball joint is very floppy. I can move it with my hands very easily. So all we got to do now is get an impact or a breaker. We'll go ahead and break these loose and then zip them out, and the whole thing should come out. So let's grab a 15. Make sure we have it on reverse. That would help. There we go. Careful of our brake lines. And we'll go ahead and pop out the other side. And there we go. Alright, so here's our rear upper control arm for a WJ Jeep. As you can see, it's a triangulating pleat piece. Here's our bushings for the body mount, and here's our ball joint that attaches to the diff. And as you can see, this thing is really loose. It's really wobbly. Looks like it's about ready to pop out. It's got some good corrosion down here as well. So we're going to go ahead and pop this out. Alright, so here's one end of our upper arm flipped upside down, and we can see this is our new bushing that we're going to install. And these will press out. We'll press them from the back side like that, and we'll just pop them out. So I have sprayed these with some PB Blaster. We're going to let that soak in a little bit, and hopefully that helps us knock everything loose. Alright, so here is our actual bushing. Alright, and here we are. We're going to go ahead and press in our new bushing. We made sure we had the orientation right on it. Okay, should be pretty good. I'll just do the other side and then we'll be all set. So this is our new ball joint for the rear upper control arm.
This is the part that mounts on the differential. And as you can see, I actually can't even move it. This one's in really good shape. Let me grab the old one real quick. So here's our old one. And as you can see here, without any trouble at all, I can wiggle that around. So this thing is shot, and we're going to go ahead and replace it with a new one. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and bolt the new one onto the differential, and then we're going to mount the rear upper control arm, line everything up, and then put the final nut on, and then we'll torque everything up. Well, as you can see, we've got our rear upper control arm in place. At least the frame mounts are up. We're just now lining everything up. We're going to get the bolt started. Make sure that we don't cross any threads. Quite there yet. There we go. Just had to position our arm a little bit. And we're almost there. There we go. That's doing it now. Okay, let's grab our ratchet again. Let's see if that takes it home. Yep, that's it. And just gonna pop over and do the other side real quick. I think we're lined up on this one. Looks like we're grabbing threads already. That's a good sign. Alright, then we're gonna leave this loose for the time being. The next step's gonna be a little tougher. Now we gotta line up the ball joint. All right, so as you can see, we've got the upper control arm ready to mate up with the ball joint on top of the differential. I've gone ahead and put the bolts on. Went ahead and attached that ball joint first. That way I could get a socket on it and go ahead and torque it. Torqued it to the specs in the factory service manual. And we're gonna go ahead and attach up the control arm. So we're gonna have to line everything up just right, and that's gonna be a bit tough, and hopefully the camera's not in the way. Okay. We're getting close. We're going to want to drop this down a little bit. Hopefully we just do it a little bit. That's good right now. Alright, so we're going to need to pivot our axle a bit. So to do that, just gonna grab a bottle jack. So what we're gonna do with this bottle jack down here is I'm gonna put it on the front of the differential, and we're gonna use it to pivot the differential back. Control arm attached. We're losing that motion, so it's really just a bunch of trying to finagle these parts right. All right, that should be pivoting our axle. I can see it pivoting up. So a little bit more, and we'll take a check and see where we are while we're forward. And there we go. Now I use the nut that's left over on the cabinet. And there we go. That'll get us going. Now we can go ahead and tighten up our top mounts the rest of the way. We'll go ahead and use our impact for that. All right. We'll go around to the other side, and then of course we'll have to torque everything down. But there you have it.